All right, folks, here we go. DNC Night 4 Part 2 recap. Let's go ahead and get into it. This is going to deal with Kamala Harris's speech and what it is she said and what it is she's trying to get at and who it is she's trying to appeal to. In other TikToks, of course, I'll be going through critiques. I'll be doing analysis and how some of the things that she suggested might apply to our everyday life so that you are aware of policy. So in case you didn't have the opportunity to watch her speech, you just need a highline overview. Her speech can be broken down into about 6 areas. What are those areas? The conditions under which she is accepting the nomination, her appeal to independents, moderates, and the undecided voters, what looking back looks like. In other words, what it would look like to put Trump back in office. She talks about a new way forward as well as international relations in Gaza. So the conditions under which she is accepting the nomination, she tells the story of her mother, how her mother met her father, she moved away from her homeland, how they divorced, how her mother brought her up in community, and she also talks about her best friend Wanda. And the reason why her best friend from high school, that is named Wanda, and the reason why she is laying this out is she is trying to appeal to those suburban women who are having an experience with their husband that they cannot necessarily articulate. So she uses her mother as a type of conduit to talk about women's autonomy, as a conduit to say that she supports no-fault divorce, as a conduit to say, hey, listen, I understand the reproductive right issues and the intimate health issues that women go through, because not only is she a woman herself, right, but her mother was a scientist who taught her daughters about these issues. And Kamala Harris says, under the context of fighting for women, I accept this party's nomination. And the reason why that is important is because it allows her to distinguish herself from Joe Biden, from Barack Obama, George Bush, Bill Clinton, and all the rest. She's saying, as a woman candidate, I will codify your experiences in law such that the Supreme Court cannot disrupt them anymore. That you have a right to leave if you need to leave. You have a right to autonomy over your body, etc. From there, she moves into the appeal to independent, moderate, and undecided voters. And she looks directly into the camera and she says, I know there are people of various political backgrounds and views who are watching me. She says, I want you to know that I'm going to be a president for all, placing country above party and self. And the reason why this is important, because undoubtedly someone on her campaign told her that RFK is about to suspend his campaign and get behind Trump. But the people who are supporting RFK obviously do not feel comfortable supporting Trump. So what she wants to do is activate those votes and capture them and bring them under the Democratic tent, right? And let them know that, hey, you have a place here. And so she says that she believes in the rule of law. Obviously, she's a prosecutor. Was a prosecutor. She says she believes in free and fair elections. She believes in the peaceful transfer of power and a president who unites. She says that she is realistic, practical, and she has common sense. And the reason why this is important is because these are all the issues that this particular set of folks care about. And then from there, she says, listen, she will stand up for women, that she will fight the big banks, that she will support veterans as well as students, and that she's also supported workers and gotten them the wages that they were due, that they had not gotten paid. And obviously, she was playing off of Trump here because of people that he did not pay. And then she talks about the ways that she stood up for seniors. And she ends this section by appealing to them by saying, this election is not only the most important of our lives, but it is one of the most important in the life of our nation. And I certainly agree with that. Then from there, she goes into what being under another Trump presidency would look like. She talks about Project 2025. She talks about what he did during the first election as it relates to voting, as it relates to January 6th, as it relates to exchanging favors for adjustments of policy. Some of you have seen my TikTok on that, right? Particularly as it relates to the moving of the embassy. And so she's laying out all of those things. And then she says the consequences of putting Trump back in office is extremely serious. And that certainly is true. And then she moves on to talking about a new way forward. This would be her suggested platform. And she talks about it in a general sense. And she says that she will be advocating and fighting for a strong middle class, that this will be the defining goal of her presidency. She says that she will bring about an opportunity economy where everyone can compete and succeed. She says that she will bring together labor, workers, small business owners, entrepreneurs, and American companies and that she will allow access to capital for entrepreneurs and small businesses. So if you're looking to establish a business, there you go. She says that she will also end the housing shortage, as well as protect Social Security and Medicare. And she says that she will also continue to support women being able to make their own decisions, autonomy. Notice she keeps driving at this because she is aware of the studies that talk about what suburban women experience. So she's talking directly to them. She also talks about reproductive rights and codifying those in law. From there, she talks about common sense firearm legislation, LGBT rights, and she also talks about the environment, that everyone should be able to breathe clean air, drink clean water, and that she will work to eliminate pollution that fuel the climate crisis. And what it is she's getting at is she's getting at all those people who climate is their issue, that they really care about, that they do activism around. She's letting them know, hey, I'm going to be a president for you. And then she also says that she is going to be fighting for the freedom to vote, which is the John Lewis Voting Rights Act and the Freedom to Vote Act. And she said that, listen, you put me in that office, that legislation is coming back up, I am signing it. So obviously what she is pointing toward here is she needs a Democratic House, she needs a Democratic majority Senate so that this work can get done. And then she also committed to bringing back the bipartisan border bill, and she also talked about that there will be a pathway to citizenship established. From there, she got into international relations, and she said that she will continue advancing the security and values of the United States abroad. She said that she will continue to strengthen the American forces, and that so much so that they will be the strongest force in the world. She said she will not disparage the military at all. She said that, listen, she wants the U.S. to be in front and not China as it relates to space and AI. She said she will not abandon NATO. She will stand behind Ukraine and Zelensky. And she said she will bring everyone together. Then from there, she moves on to what is happening in Gaza. And this is her direct quote. She said that her and Biden are working around the clock to bring the hostages home and get a ceasefire deal done. Here is the quote. As it relates to Israel, she said, quote, I will always stand up for Israel's right to defend itself, and I will always make sure Israel has the ability to defend itself, because the people of Israel must never again face the horror that the Hamas organization caused on October 7th. As it relates to Palestine, she said, quote, at the same time, what has happened to Gaza over the past 10 months is devastating. So many innocent lives lost, desperate, hungry people fleeing for safety over and over again. The scale of suffering is heartbreaking. And then she came back and she drove her main points home, that Israel's going to be secure, that hostages are released, that the suffering in Gaza ends, and the Palestinian people have the right to realize their right to dignity, security, freedom, and self-determination. Now, a question to consider here is, can these things in fact coexist? That's going to be something for her to detail out once that policy comes out more and more. And she did say toward the end of her speech, as in going back to international relations, she says, I will never hesitate to defend our forces and our interests against Iran, and I will not cozy up to dictators. And she says those same people are rooting for Trump because they know he's easy to manipulate with flattery and favor. So that was her speech. And the one thing that I do want to point out here is that in an earlier TikTok, when I talked about what a Kamala Harris campaign would look like, this is exactly what I was talking about. The true blue folks are going to vote blue even if Donald Duck was on that ballot, right? What she is going to do is she's going to send her pitch for presidency to the middle, and she's offering up just enough red meat to get them to buy in, right? Once we get more policy details, we'll be able to talk about what this looks like in real time. But over the next few TikToks that I do, I'll be talking about her policy, I'll be talking about Trump's policy, and what this looks like. But for the most part, I believe what most folks are trying to do, honestly, is not reverse the clock. And there are some very, very high stakes with Trump going back into office. And I think what she's trying to do is situate herself to saying, listen, I'm opening to work with everyone, and that, let me know what you want to see and I'll let you know what I can do. But more to come on that. But this was her speech, and I'll have some more TikToks coming about this. All right? Talk to y'all later. Peace.